So a pretty common question I've gotten on my Garmin HRM-Pro and HRM-Pro Plus reviews is, will my watch work with this heart rate monitor? And that's almost resoundingly a yes. Garmin's high-end premium heart rate monitors can connect to nearly any watch, bike computer, or any other kind of device out there that has either Bluetooth or ANT+. However, the HRM-Pro and HRM-Pro Plus have some advanced features that only work with certain Garmin watches. So although they may connect to your watch, you may not be able to benefit from some of the additional features that they have, and you could very well save some money with a cheaper option like, let's say, the HRM-Dual, which is just as accurate as the HRM-Pro and HRM-Pro Plus. So in this video, I just kind of wanted to go over the differences between the HRM-Pro, the HRM-Pro Plus, and the HRM-Dual. But not only that, I'll also be going over the HRM-Swim and even talking about some of their older models like the HRM-Tri and HRM-Run, just to explain all the differences between them and hopefully help you figure out which one's going to be right for you. Okay, so before we go over the differences between all these, let's just go ahead and quickly go over why you may need an external heart rate monitor. So the optical heart rate sensors on watches are getting better and better with each generation, but there's still simply some scenarios where these kind of sensors don't really work all that well. So for instance, there's stuff like weight training where you're gripping onto the dumbbells, which flexes your wrist, and there's also a lot of varying arm movement, which can throw off these kind of sensors. And then there's stuff like mountain biking or even gravel biking, where there's a lot of vibration coming from the handlebars over rougher terrain, which can make a watch bounce around on the wrist, even if you really crank it down. And then there's stuff like cold weather where your blood flow can be different, as well as other factors like if you happen to have tattoos on your wrist. So there's definitely plenty of scenarios out there where you may need an external heart rate monitor for the most accurate results and the most accurate training feedback from your watch. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's just go ahead and talk about all these different models, and we'll first start with this HRM-Dual. So the HRM-Dual is the least expensive option out of Garmin's heart rate monitors, but even though it is the cheapest option, it's actually just as accurate as all these other options. And for connectivity, the HRM-Dual can connect to other devices using ANT+ as well as Bluetooth. And the HRM-Dual, as the name implies, has 2 Bluetooth connections, but with ANT+, you can actually connect to an unlimited amount of other devices. In terms of why you may need 2 Bluetooth connections, let's say you have a watch that only accepts Bluetooth external accessories like an Apple Watch, a Polar Watch, or more recent Chorus watches, but you also want to pair and use it with a training app like, let's say, Zwift or Trainer Road on your iPad or Apple TV. That's where having 2 Bluetooth connections comes in handy. In terms of wearability and comfort, the HRM-Dual has a soft, comfortable, and adjustable strap, and it's actually the only strap that Garmin currently makes that has a detachable pod. The advantage there is that when your strap wears out, you can actually simply replace the strap, which runs about half as much as the entire thing brand new. And that's the thing, is that these straps really don't last forever. For me, I can usually get about 2, maybe 3 years in some cases out of a strap before the electrodes wear out. It kind of just depends on how much you use it, of course, but also the pH level of your sweat. The advertised battery life on the HRM-Dual is about 3.5 years, and you'll replace the battery by having to remove the back cover here with these 4 little screws. You do have to make sure, though, that when you replace the battery that you have this little rubber ring situated just right, or you may get water inside the unit. And on that subject, it's water resistant down to 1 ATM, but this heart rate monitor isn't designed for swimming. Basically, the HRM-Dual is a great option if you're looking to collect accurate heart rate for pretty much any other activity other than swimming. So like running, cycling, connecting to indoor training platforms like Zwift, where you can also pair it with an iPad or an Apple TV. Oh, and lastly, the HRM-Dual also can transmit real-time heart rate for HRV or heart rate variability via Bluetooth. So next up is the HRM-Swim. So this heart rate monitor, as the name implies, is specifically designed for swimming with a few specific features. So first off, you'll notice that the strap is wider than all the other straps, and the reason for this is that it stays in place much better, and the wider strap prevents the strap from flipping over with hard pushes off the wall between laps. I've actually even had occasions with some of these other swim-capable straps where they would actually flip over during breaststroke, so this is where that wider strap prevents that. Another thing that helps with swimming and keeping it in place is that it has a lot of grippy material on the inside of the strap, and these bits hold onto your skin really well, preventing the strap from moving down on your chest. Another thing that makes the strap specifically designed for swimming is that this strap is also more resistant to pool chemicals. So even though you can use the HRM-Pro, the HRM-Pro Plus, as well as the HRM-Tri for swimming, those straps actually don't have as much resistance to pool chemicals. So the HRM-Swim is going to be your best bet if you're spending a lot of time in the pool. And then another feature that this strap has, which is related to swimming, is it has the ability to store heart rate data on the strap itself, which can then be downloaded later with compatible Garmin watches. So the reason you need this sort of feature for swimming is that even though this strap does have ANT+, wireless signals don't travel well through the water. So even if you have your strap paired with your watch before you start swimming, during your swim, the heart rate data won't be transmitted consistently since your chest and wrist are underwater most of the time. So what happens here with this feature is that when you have this paired with compatible watch, when you go to save your swim session, the watch will search for the heart rate data that was stored on the strap and then merges that data with your swim stats, so all that information is combined. Another important note is that it only has ANT+ connectivity. It doesn't have Bluetooth. Oh, and it also doesn't have the HRV feature either. And then for battery life, Garmin says that it should last about 18 months with about 3 hours of swimming per week. And replacing the battery is similar to the HRM-Dual, where you do have to unscrew 4 screws and also make sure that rubber seal is situated just right when you go to replace it, but it just doesn't have the replaceable pod like the HRM-Dual. Basically, the HRM-Swim is really meant for all of you out there that swim a lot, especially in the pool. You can very well use it for stuff like running and biking, but honestly, it won't be as comfortable as these other straps because of the wider strap as well as the grippy bits. It's very secure for swimming, but it makes it a lot less of an all-rounder when it comes to a heart rate strap. And that brings us to the HRM-Pro and the HRM-Pro Plus, and these have all the same connectivity options as the HRM-Dual with unlimited and plus connectivity as well as 2 Bluetooth connections. But these straps also have some additional features beyond that, but the thing that you have to keep in mind though with these additional features is that only certain Garmin watches can collect some of this data. So the first thing is that these straps can collect more advanced running dynamics like vertical oscillation, ground contact time balance, and these also can collect running power. Where these features get a little bit tricky though is that only certain Garmin watches can collect some of this data. So watches like the Garmin Forerunner 245, 255, 745, 945, 955, and the Garmin Instinct 2, but not the Instinct 1 unfortunately. And then Garmin's Phoenix line of watches can collect the advanced running dynamics. And then with running power, I don't think the 245 is supported, but all the others I mentioned can collect running power. However, with a recent update, most of the more recent higher-end Garmin watches like the Garmin Fenix 7, Epix, and Forerunner 955 can also collect running power from the wrist itself without having to have a strap. But watches like the Garmin Forerunner 45 or 55, Venue or Venue 2, Vivo series, and basically more of their smartwatch watches won't be able to collect any of this data. However, they can still pair with these to collect heart rate. And then another running related feature is that these straps can also provide a better estimation of distances running indoors since it's capturing all that running dynamics data. So this can be handy if you're just not getting that accurate of pace and distance running indoors on a treadmill or track with your watch. So when you're indoors, you don't have GPS to provide pace and distance, and your watch is just kind of relying on the accelerometer inside to provide that data. I actually generally get pretty good results from Garmin watches when it comes to distance estimations indoors, but if you're just not getting that good results from your watch, this is just something to try. Again, though, not all Garmin watches can benefit from this feature, and more details in some of those links that I'll have in the description below. And then just like the HRM-Swim, these straps also can store heart rate data on the strap itself for swimming, but it also can do this for other sports too, not just swimming. So what you can do is with the HRM-Pro and the HRM-Pro Plus is that you can wear just the heart rate strap, go to start your activity on your watch, put your watch aside, and then go off and do your activity. And you don't need to be in range of your watch during your activity for this to work. But once you're done, you just get back to your watch, stop your activity, and then what you can do is choose to download the heart rate data from your strap, and it just magically all merged together. But just like the running dynamics, not all Garmin watches can download heart rate data off of these straps after an activity. And again, I'll have links in the description below if your watch can actually take advantage of that feature. However, that gets us to a feature that's actually not related to your watch at all. It's related to your smartphone, so really anyone could take advantage of this as long as you have a smartphone. So with these straps, you'll be able to capture your heart rate and steps without a watch at all, and that's because the HRM-Pro and HRM-Pro Plus can connect to the Garmin Connect app on your phone via Bluetooth. So this still uses the same theory of storing data on the strap itself, and then you literally don't need to do anything for this. You just put the strap on, you just go and do whatever you want to do, whether that's M&A or rock climbing or even yard work. The world is your oyster here, but what the strap does is that it not only stores your heart rate, but also your steps. And then when you sync it with the Garmin Connect app after you're done, all that information is transferred to the app, so you get credit for the calories burned since it was collecting your heart rate. The one thing it doesn't collect though is floors climbed since it doesn't have an altimeter inside. In addition, it doesn't provide any sleep information if you were to wear it to sleep. It would get your heart rate data, but nothing like sleep stages or anything like that. The one thing to keep in mind though with this feature is that it doesn't actually create individual activities. So even though it is collecting your heart rate and steps, that data is just being fed into your overall activity for the day. So you'll be able to see your heart rate and steps on the heart rate page, the steps page, or even the day view in your calendar view, but it doesn't create a separate timed activity like you would do if you had it paired with a watch in the previous example. Oh, and then in regards to how much data you can actually store on the straps itself, you can store up to 18 hours of offline data. And then in terms of the differences between the HRM-Pro and the HRM-Pro Plus, it really comes down to the battery compartment, where the HRM-Pro that has this yellow ring around it, you have to use a screwdriver to get into the battery compartment, and you have to be really careful with that O-ring to replace the battery, just like the HRM-Swim. With the HRM-Pro Plus, there's no need for tools at all, and all you do is just rotate this little cover to access the compartment. The only reason that they have both these straps, I believe, is that the HRM-Pro Plus isn't available in Australia due to some law surrounding the easily removable battery compartment door, but other than that, these straps are identical in terms of features. Oh, and the battery life is also similar with these two, where these can get up to a year with about an hour of use per day. Realistically though, with the HRM Pro and the HRM Pro Plus, you pretty much only want to buy these if you own a Garmin watch, but not only that, one of their more sports-oriented watches, which can take full advantage of those features. However, if you currently own, like, let's say something like a Garmin Venue, but plan on getting a watch that can take advantage of these extra capabilities in the future, like let's say a Forerunner 955, it could be worth considering getting one of these right now so you can kind of future-proof yourself when you go to upgrade your watch. And that brings us to the HRM-Tri, which is blue here, and the HRM-Run in red. And these are older generation Garmin heart rate straps, but you still can find these for sale. And they do provide many of the more advanced features as well, which is kind of why I wanted to talk about them. The big thing to keep in mind with these two straps, though, is that these only have ANT+ connectivity. They don't have Bluetooth. So they're pretty much only going to be for people with Garmin watches because not many other watches support ANT+, but there are some exceptions, like let's say the Wahoo Rival and some older Chorus watches. In addition, these probably aren't recommended either if you plan to do a lot of training indoors with something like a Zwift on an iPad, since these don't have Bluetooth. However, both of these straps are able to collect the more advanced running dynamics like on the HRM Pro and the HRM Pro Plus, and with the HRM-Tri, the blue one here, it's also able to store heart rate data for swimming, which then can be downloaded later on a compatible Garmin watch. But since the HRM-Tri doesn't have Bluetooth, it won't be able to pair with the Garmin Connect app on your smartphone like the HRM Pro and the HRM Pro Plus, so it doesn't have all these steps and heart rate sync feature directly with the app. And then when it comes to the price of all of these, the HRM-Dual usually runs around $70, the HRM-Swim usually runs $99, and then the HRM Pro and HRM Pro Plus, these are usually $130, but I actually recently just saw these on sale. The HRM-Tri and the HRM-Run, these are older generation Garmin heart rate straps like I was mentioning, so the price can kind of vary with these. But if you are interested in picking any of these up, I'll actually have affiliate links down in the description below where you can check out the latest pricing. And those links don't cost you anything additional, by the way, but by clicking on those links, you're just kind of helping out the channel, and it's just a great way of supporting more content just like this. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information, but I've just had a lot of questions come up about the differences between all these straps, and I hope this video helped you figure out which one's going to be right for you. And if it was helpful, do me a favor and just hit that like button down below, and also subscribe to the channel for lots more sports tech videos that are coming soon. In the meantime, have fun out there, and we will see you in the next video.